and I need to read 23 books this month. I almost feel like the dust jacket is a spoiler, but I'm not disliking it yet. Is that I was so focused on the time rather than the book that I was actually reading less than normal.
And with the winter comes the ice, the snow, but
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sam, and I need to read 23 books this month. If you saw my August TBR game, you saw how chaotic that went, and I ended up with 23 books on my TBR, which is an insane number of books. The most that I have ever read in a month is 21, and that was pushing it. So we're gonna see how this goes. I don't know that I'm gonna finish it, but I am going to give it my absolute best shot. So in order to do that, we need to make some changes and we need to make some prioritizing of reading happening. So the first way that I'm going to do that is by taking a week to swap my screen time with reading. So obviously I have a lot of screen time, most of us do. I use my phone for a lot of things. I get stuck in TikTok cycles, I scroll through social media a lot, it becomes a problem. So I decided to look at my screen time from last week when I really didn't read much at all and see if I can flip that around and try to do the opposite this week. So I have my screen time pulled up and it is quite embarrassing. But today is August 1st, and if you saw my reading vlog that I think is going up August 3rd, so if you saw that reading vlog, you know that the week that I filmed that, which was this past week, was a really rough reading week for me. I didn't get a lot of reading done. I wasn't really in a reading slump. I was more in like a life slump. I was just like not in the mood to really do anything. So I ended up doing a lot of like TikTok cycling and social media cycling and just scrolling. And so that ended up with a much higher screen time than normal. But I think it's gonna be okay. We might have to tweak this a little bit based on that because I don't know if this is actually possible. My screen time for last week was 8 hours and 28 minutes a day on average, which is more than a full-time job. So I really have nothing to say for myself. But we're gonna try and flip that around. So I think we need to go through it. There are a couple of things. Basically throughout the whole week I had 59 hours and 20 minutes of screen time, but that does break down into some different things and I don't think all of it is necessarily negative screen time. So I do have 5.5 hours of like games. That is one specific little phone game that I play only when I am listening to audiobooks, because I need to be doing something with my hands to be able to listen to an audiobook, and I don't like to read and listen at the same time. So I don't think that should count because I was reading. Like, that's what I was doing. I was listening to an audiobook. So I'm going to take that out. And then if we break it down a little bit more, what concerns me the most is the 14 hours and 57 minutes of TikTok that I scrolled through last week. We also had 6 hours and 30 minutes on Instagram, 5 hours and 48 minutes on Facebook, and 2 hours and 39 minutes on YouTube. And those are really the big ones and the concerning ones. Then we've got like the camera, which is just me filming, so like that doesn't count. We've got YouTube Studio, which is what I use as a YouTuber, so that's mostly work, that doesn't count. Messages I don't think count. So we're really mostly just concerned about the social media. So if we add that up, 14 and a half hours, actually it was 15 hours, let's be honest. 15 hours of TikTok plus 6.5 hours of Instagram plus 6 hours of Facebook plus 2.5 hours of YouTube is 30 hours. So I am going to break that down by the 6 days that I'm going to be filming this. 5 days. I'm not sure if I'm going to film 5 or 6 days. So my goal is to read 30 hours this week, and if we break that down by 5 days, that is 6 hours a day, which is a lot. You know, let's screen times by 7 days. So 30 divided by 7 is 4.2 hours, which seems a lot more doable. So we're gonna go with 4.2 hours. So we'll just round it out to 4 hours a day of reading for the next 7 days and see how far we get. So I do have a lot of books to read. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna read first, but I have my huge stack of August TBR pile above me. So I'm going to pick a book and we'll set a timer and see how it goes. I do have some more work to do this morning, so I'm probably not going to read like right now, but I will let y'all know how day 1 of reading for 4 hours instead of scrolling through TikTok goes.
It all. No, my love, don't worry about the cold just yet. The trees haven't started to shed.
Alright, so it's the afternoon now. I have read 2.5 hours today, 2 hours and 27 minutes to be exact, and I finished a book, so I thought I would talk about it. So first, I started reading From Blood and Ash. This is a reread for me, and I was kind of like redoing my annotations and stuff because I'm kind of changing up how I annotate books, but I got like 30 pages in and then realized that I think this is going to be my book club pick of the month, so I don't want to read it all in one day and then be floundering for the book club. So I put a pause on this. I am still planning to read it, and I'm obviously reading it this month. I'm actually planning on reading the entire series this month, so I do need to get a move on this, but I didn't want to read it today since voting on that book club doesn't actually close until Wednesday. So I'm going to pause this for the moment. I'll probably read a little bit more tomorrow, but I'm going to take it super slow for now. But I did read and finish Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. So this is an adult thriller, and it follows 3 different couples. Well, they're not all couples. It follows 6 people who end up on this island that is like, it has like a very dark past. Like, this island was named after a ship that wrecked there, and there was like something like 38 crew members that were wrecked on this island, and only 8 survived, and there were all these like rumors of cannibalism and like all this bad stuff that happened on the island, and then things like that. And then these people end up on this island, and it seems like it's really great, but then some strange stuff starts to happen and things kind of start to go wrong. And I feel like the dust jacket, like, the description of the book goes into more detail, but I almost feel like the dust jacket is a spoiler, because I can't elaborate on that without also being a spoiler, so I won't. But don't read the dust jacket. Go in blind, or go in knowing that it's, you know, 6 people that go on an island and things go wrong. Like, go in knowing that and nothing else, because I feel like the dust jacket goes way too much into detail and way further than it should. But this was really fun. I did actually end up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. It's a pretty typical thriller. There isn't really anything like overly new here, but I did think it was really fun for a thriller, and as someone who has been struggling a lot with thrillers recently, this was a really good book to get me back into thrillers. I actually am kind of interested in reading more, and I would be interested in reading more by this author. I really liked our characters. We kind of get, each character, we get a little bit of like the present tense and then a little bit of backstory from them, and I really liked how each character was so unique but also kind of intertwined. Not necessarily in like they knew each other, but in like just like these little connections here and there, and I really liked that aspect. I also just really liked like the characters themselves. I thought each of them was unique and interesting. I got very angry at a couple of them. I understood their like what was making them do the things that they were doing. I understood it, and I really liked that. I really felt like I connected, especially with our main character. And honestly, this book is so short. Like, it's barely 300 pages. I read it in just under 2 hours, and I just really enjoyed it. Like, I feel like it's not one of those books where you can like take a lot from it, but I did think it was a fun read. It was a fun thriller, and I would recommend it, and honestly, I would probably read it again. So I think for rating on this one, I'm gonna go with Probably like 4 to 4.5 stars. I don't know that it quite hits 5 stars. I'm kind of picky on my thrillers and 5 stars, but I think a solid 4 to 4.5 stars, I would be pretty happy with that rating, is what I'm thinking. I still have 2 hours to read. We've read 2.5. I need to read, what did I say, 4 or 4.5? I think I said 4.5. Hold on, it was 30 divided by 7. No, it was 4.28, so we need to read 4 hours a day. So I only have an hour and a half left, but it is already 5:30. And the day got away from me. I had more work to do than anticipated. I got roped into doing some other work that I didn't plan on doing today. So I've got an hour and a half left of reading. I think I'm going to start The Final Empire, which is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I don't know anything about it other than it's like an adult fantasy, and it's super popular, and I've been told I'm going to love it. So I kind of want to know what it's about before I go in. But this is a very large book, coming in at just over 700 pages. So kind of going back to like my Outlander days of the really big books. So I definitely want to start this one early because I don't think this is a book that I'm going to want to binge read. I think I'm going to want to kind of take it a little bit at a time and kind of let it sit a little bit. So I'm planning to start this as soon as possible so that if I need to take the whole month to kind of slowly work through it while also reading other things, I have the ability to do that. So I think that's what I'm going to be reading next. And we'll see how it goes.
Just feel the summer sun as it warms our bed. I'm lying, and I'm lying when I say I'm not afraid.
Day one, we got our 4 hours in, and I am 100 pages into Mistborn. So we've read one book, read a tiny little bit of a different book, and now we are on our way with this book. I still really can't tell you what it's about. I'm still a little confused. I know that there's a heist happening, which does make me a little nervous. If you've been watching my channel long enough, all the way back when I read Six of Crows, y'all know that I am not a fan of heists, and I did not like Six of Crows at all. So that makes me a little bit nervous, but so far I'm liking it. I don't really have a strong opinion about it yet, but I'm not disliking it yet. So I do find it kind of interesting. We're gonna see how it goes, but I'm 100 pages in, and I got a long way to go, so we're gonna be here for a while. Good morning. So it is day 2 of swapping my screen time with reading. It might get a little bit difficult today. So plan for today, I still want to continue from Blood and Ash. I've been going through, I annotated this the first time I read it, and I've been switching up my annotation style. So I've been going through and like taking some out. I want to make it a little bit less complicated so that maybe I will annotate more often. So I've been going through and like kind of removing the ones that I don't really want anymore and fixing the ones that I want to move. So I do want to continue to read that. I'll probably read a good amount of that today. That I'm kind of excited about reading more of. And I think even if I finish it like super early in the month with the book club, like it'll still be fine. I can still discuss it. I could talk about this book all day long. I also want to continue The Final Empire, so I'm still 100 pages in, but I'm hoping to get at least another 100 pages of that done today, so that'll probably be about an hour to an hour and a half. I think it took me an hour and a half to get 100 pages because it's a little bit more dense than other things. I also kind of want to read The Hawthorne Legacy today. I really, really liked the first book. And I am excited to read the next one, and the third one comes out sometime this month, I think closer to the end of the month, but I do really want to continue this series. However, fitting 4 hours of reading in today might be difficult. I have a lot of work I gotta do this morning, and I've been recruited to help my dad clean out the garage, so there's hours of my life gone, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're gonna fit 4 hours in there somewhere, and we're gonna do our best.
But I'm trying shelter you from pain.
Day 2, 4 hours in. This one was a little bit tricky, and I didn't even end up having that busy of a day, but I have been really feeling like 4 hours seems like a lot of reading, and I've read like a lot more than 4 hours some days, but it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm not being productive, I guess, because I'm just sitting around a lot, but it is something that I'm like trying to challenge myself, so it is productive, it just doesn't feel productive, so it is kind of difficult for me to actually like take the time to sit down and start the timer, and then I never really realized like how many times I get interrupted, and it'll be like I thought I was reading for an hour, but I was really only reading for like 40 minutes because I had to stop the timer and get up 80,000 times for some reason or another. So that has been making 4 hours of reading actually take like 6 hours. But it's fine. It's fine. So far today, we are now halfway through From Blood and Ash, or just under halfway. I remember the first time I read this book that I was surprised at how long it was actually taking me to get through it. I am 224 pages in, and I read this for the most part today. Like, I did read some other things, but this was the bulk of my reading today, and it took me a good... I was on page 30, so I've read just under 200 pages, and it took me a good 2.5 hours to do that, which is kind of a lot for me. I'm usually more of a 100 pages an hour kind of person, but I do remember it taking longer the first time, and I don't know if it's just because there's like a lot of words on each page. I mean, I don't know, is this writing really tiny? I didn't really think it was, but maybe it's smaller than I think. I do know that the first time I read it I was annotating, so I knew that was taking longer, and this time I'm going through and changing my annotations. Like, I don't write in my books, but I do the little tab things sometimes, and this one was the first book I tabbed, I think, and I had like a bajillion of them, and I've been going through and taking out, I only tab like 2 or 3 categories now instead of like 12, so I've been going through and taking out the other ones, and then every now and then I do add one, but I don't feel like I'm doing it as much as I was the first time, so I'm still not really sure why it's taking so long, but maybe the words are just really tiny. I also read a little bit more of The Final Empire. I am now 164 pages in. That took me a full hour to get 64 more pages in, so this one is for sure taking longer to read than what I'm used to. Probably because it is like adult fantasy, so it's a little bit denser than what I normally read, and I do think the words are kind of small in this. But I'm getting a little bit more intrigued. I was a little bit nervous once I realized it was a heist situation, because I usually don't really like those, but I'm a little bit more intrigued. I am enjoying the planning part of the heist. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the execution, because that's where Six of Crows lost me. I was with you through the planning, and then I got bored during the actual execution. But I am interested in the magic in this book. The magic system is definitely not like anything I've read before, so I think it's kind of cool. But we'll see. We'll see. And then I was going to start the Hawthorne Legacy, which is the second book after the Inheritance games, but I ended up getting my notification on Libby that my audiobook for Obsidio was ready, so I was listening to this a little bit. I think I listened to like an hour of it, so not super far into it, but really enjoying it. This is the only one that I haven't read yet, and the only one that I've never read physically, and I do find that I am in fact getting just a tiny bit lost. Like, the other ones I knew what was happening, so I didn't really need to read it. This one I'm kind of feeling like I might need to read parts of it while listening to understand what's actually happening, but I am really enjoying it. I didn't really know what it was about going in. Like, each one of these books is like the same story but different, not even different characters. They're all connected, but it's not like the characters at the center of the story are not the same in each book, but the other characters are like there, kind of. So I didn't really know who this was about or where the story was taking place compared to the other two. But I am enjoying it. I am interested and I am really excited to finish it. But I do think that I probably need to at least read some of it, because this one seems like it has a lot more pictures than the other two. Like, I physically read the other two and then I listened to the audio. But like, this one has a lot more like maps and like diagrams and charts and things. So I almost feel like I should probably read this one, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow. I don't know. I might listen to more of it tonight. It's only, my watch died. It's only 7:30, so I might read more tonight, but I also might not. I don't know. Again, I'm kind of enjoying this challenge, but it's also making my reading feel very like almost too planned out, you know? Like, I have to read 4 hours, so I'm focusing more on the time limit of what I'm reading rather than what I'm reading. And it might be taking some of the enjoyment out of it. We're still going to do the whole week to see if I change my mind on that. But we'll see. We'll see.
And oh my love, the seasons come and they go, but I hope you know that I won't.
So it's day 3, and so far I have read 4 hours and 27 minutes today, and it's only like 5:15, so I definitely still have time to read more, and I think I will. So one of the things that I noticed while doing this challenge is that I was so focused on the time rather than the book that I was actually reading less than normal. And that's not good when I've got so many books to read in August. So I was looking at it like, oh, I've hit my 4 hours, okay, I'm done for the day. While I still think overall 4 hours a day will be more than I normally read, there are days that I read like 6 or 7 hours a day. So I feel like I definitely have been like not forcing myself to stop, but like more likely to stop because my 4 hours was up than for any other reason, whereas usually I will try to get to a certain point in a book or even finish a book before I stop for the day. So that's kind of what I was noticing, but I did kind of try to turn that around and focus on the books again rather than the timer, and just kind of have the timer in the background. So I did finish From Blood and Ash, which I loved, obviously. Second time reading it. I don't know that I'm going to start the second book immediately. I think I'm going to give it a day because I kind of want to read something else tomorrow, and I don't want to be reading 4 books at once. But I haven't read any more of The Final Empire yet, but I'm planning to tonight, so I will get there. And I am now like 30% of the way into Obsidio, and I gotta say, so far this one's my least favorite of the 3. It's the most confusing for sure, and I think it's because we now have a much larger cast of characters and it's just a little bit confusing keeping up with everything that's happening. And I haven't had a chance today to listen and read it at the same time, but I think I probably need to for this one, so I'm gonna try to do some of that maybe later tonight or tomorrow. But we'll see. But that is where I'm at so far, and if I read any more tonight, I will let y'all know. Good morning. It's day 3, and yesterday I ended up reading more. So where we left off, I was at 4 hours and 27 minutes, and then I ended up with 6 hours and 57 minutes. So did a lot more reading of my audiobook mostly. I was listening to that, and now I'm like 60% of the way through that because it is getting so good. So I actually didn't end up reading any more of Mistborn because I was so into Obsidio. But plan for today. Today might end up being kind of a busy day. I do have quite a few things to do and some other life stuff going on, but we're gonna do our best. So the fact that I read a little bit more yesterday kind of makes me feel better. If I don't quite meet it today, it's gonna be okay, but I still think I can do it, especially with the audiobook, because I can do other things, some of my other things, while listening to that. So I do want to read Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, but I don't know that I'm gonna start that today. because it's probably going to take me 2 days to get through, and I have such a large stack of books for August that I kind of want to read some quicker reads that I can get through to feel like the stack is getting smaller, because we are, what's the date today? The 4th? So we're 4 days into the month and I still have 22 books to read. 21. We're down to 21 now. So I'm thinking I definitely want to read more of Mistborn. I want to keep going with that and keep getting pages read because there's still a lot of pages to go. I might read, my stack is what's holding up my camera right now, my like TBR, so I'm looking at it. I'm thinking I could definitely read that middle grade horror reread, but it is a horror and I know it's middle grade, but like I am who I am. So I don't know that I want to read that when my husband's at work. I might wait for him to come home before I read that. I could also reread Chasing McCree. I do love that book and it's not very long. I could definitely get that done today, even with my busy life. Could also read Behind Closed Doors. That's supposed to be pretty short. I think that was like my shortest prompt. I don't want to read the Book of Cold Cases because I think I have the audiobook for that on hold at the library, so I want to wait for that because once I finish Obsidio I'm going to need a new audiobook. So I don't really know exactly what I'm going to read. I'm thinking I'm going to try to read that middle grade horror, Deep and Dark and Dangerous, maybe tonight when my husband's home. So I'm thinking today I'm going to focus on Obsidio and The Final Empire during the day, and then we'll see how long it takes me to finish Obsidio. Once I finish one of those 2 books, I'm going to start Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. So once I finish Obsidio, probably, I will start A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I just don't want to be reading more than like 3 books at a time. Especially like 3 very big books. So I think Final Empire and Obsidio will be my focus today. And then I can start A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. And I might read that middle grade horror and maybe Chasing McCree thrown in there somewhere. So it's the end of day 4 and I did not get my 4 hours in today. I only got 2 hours and 48 minutes and all of that was listening to my audiobook. So I did finish Obsidio, which, not gonna lie, was definitely my least favorite of the trilogy. I gave this one 4 stars. I gave the other 2 both 5. And I think a lot of it was, like, it's still good. I still really enjoyed it, but there was so much happening that it was hard to keep up. Like, we just had too many, like, main characters at this point, and I didn't care about Asha and Reese, like, at all. Like, I got attached to Katie and Ezra, and then I got even more attached to Hannah and Nick, and I just didn't really feel that for Asha and Reese, like, at all. I just really didn't care about them, but as a whole, I still really, really liked the series, and I still really liked this book. The actual plot was very interesting. I still like the formatting. I would still recommend this series. This one didn't quite make 5 stars, but 4 stars is not a bad rating. It was still a really good book. And honestly, today was just a really bad day. Just not a great day. Wasn't in a great mood for a lot of it, so I didn't end up actually picking up a physical book at all today, which is fine. It happens. So hopefully we're going to turn it around tomorrow. I don't feel that bad that I didn't make the 4 hours because I read more than 4 hours yesterday, so like it's okay. But plan for tomorrow, I need a new audiobook, so I just got my hold notification that my hold is ready for the Book of Cold Cases for my library. So I'm going to try this as an audiobook and see how it goes. And I'm also still reading The Final Empire. Have not read any more of that, but I do want to. I'm going to try to make some headway on that tomorrow. And then I'm also thinking of starting my audiobook, and then I'm thinking I'm either going to start Behind Closed Doors or my reread of Chasing McCree. I might go with this one because it's shorter, so I can probably knock that one out. And still have time to read some other things. I still need to start Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, so I really want to start that this week, but tomorrow is Friday. So we're gonna see how this goes, but so far in this vlog we finished 3 books, so that's not bad. Very happy with that. I'm hoping I can finish a couple more before the end of this vlog, but we'll see how it goes. But hopefully tomorrow's a little bit better of a day and we can pick up the reading a little bit more and get closer to our 4 hours again. Good morning. So it is now day 5. I think I got off on my days somewhere, but it's Friday, so it's got to be day 5 because I started this on Monday. So today I don't have like a lot to do. I usually use Fridays to like plan for next week because I try really hard not to do any type of like work on the weekends. That doesn't always happen, but I do my best. So today I just need to kind of like plan out next week, keep you updated. Good morning. So it is technically day 6, but we're gonna call it day 5 because the real day 5 did not happen. Basically, long story short, yesterday I thought I was going to have all of this time and I thought yesterday was going to be the easiest day of the whole challenge, but I ended up having 0 time all day and I was only able to read 3 pages and 4 minutes. So we just scrapped it. We're gonna call this day 5 even though it is Saturday, so it's technically day 6. We're gonna do our best and I might end the challenge after today. Today might be the last day. We'll kind of see how I feel at the end of it, but I'm not gonna lie, I have not liked this challenge. I have not been enjoying this. I have found that it has made reading more stressful. I think I've actually read less than normal and I haven't enjoyed it as much. So I don't think that I will do this again, but I am determined to finish the video out. So we are gonna give it one more day. So plan for today is mostly to focus on the Final Empire. I want to get as much of this read today as I can within my 4 hours. I might read a little bit more than 4 hours. I don't know. I don't like focusing on the timer anymore, but we're going to finish out the challenge one more day. So I also know that I am starting to struggle. Also, I'm using plastic as a bookmark, sorry. But I am starting to struggle with this book a little bit. I don't want to DNF it. Like, I trust the person who told me I'm going to love this, so I am going to keep going, but it is a little bit of a struggle and I can't really say that I'm enjoying it all that much right now. So what I'm going to do is for every 100 pages that I read in this, I'm going to let myself read some of the Hawthorne Legacy, which is a lot more fast-paced and something that I want to read a little bit more. So I'm going to kind of flip back and forth between the two to kind of keep myself on track. So for every 100 pages of the Final Empire, I think I'll let myself read like 50 pages of this book. Let's go. Like 11 p.m. way past my bedtime, but I ended up just reading Mistborn today. Like, this was the only thing I read today. I got my 4 hours in. I am now over halfway through and it picked up so quickly. I think it did take me a good 200 pages before I was really invested in the story, but once I was really invested. I almost finished this today. I really was intending to because once I started going I just didn't want to stop. But then I got really tired, so I didn't. But I probably will be finishing this tomorrow, if we're being honest. But I am going to end this vlog and this challenge here because I am just done with it, if we're being honest. So, my thoughts on replacing screen time with reading. 1, my screen time did not go down at all this week. I just read my 4 hours and then did another 4 hours of screen time, so didn't really fix that problem. 2, I really hated having a timer for my reading. It just made reading feel more like a chore. I actually think I read less than normal and I didn't enjoy what I was reading. Like, at all. Today was the first day that I actually like enjoyed reading, and it was because I set the timer on, I put the timer away, and I didn't even worry about it. I made sure I got my 4 hours, and then I was just done with it. I don't know that I will do this again. I don't know that I'll do this in the same way again. I much prefer having like a page count goal or like a chapter goal or something, not a time goal. I don't know, 4 hours doesn't seem like a lot, and I do read 4 hours like a lot of days, but I just don't like having to keep track of it at all. I also found that like forcing myself to read 4 hours a day is impossible. There are some days that I read an hour or less. There are some days that I read 7 or 8 hours, and I like it that way. I don't need to read a set amount of time every single day. I don't need my reading to be that structured, especially because I do keep a fairly strict TBR with my TBR game and everything. I just don't need to add more structure to my reading. It's taking away the enjoyment. So I don't think I will do this again, or if I do, I'm gonna do it in a slightly different way, because I really don't feel like this actually had the effect that I intended it to have. I don't think I read any more than normal, and I definitely did not have any less screen time than normal. So that's my takeaways on that. But I do plan to do a 48-hour readathon either Monday and Tuesday or Tuesday and Wednesday. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how I feel Monday. So if you have ever tried a challenge like this, let me know how it went in the comments, or if you think you would try a challenge like this, let's talk, because I want to know other people's thoughts. I want to know if I'm the only one that feels this way, or if somebody has a better way to do this that might not be horrible to me. Let me know how you did, or how you think you would do, or how you plan to do if you're gonna do this, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!